Welcome. Good afternoon. It is with great pleasure that I welcome welcome everyone to Celebrating Teachers, Brookline Education Foundation's annual event where we honor and celebrate Brookline's exceptional educators. My name is Elizabeth Ascoli, and I'm the Executive Director of the Brookline Education Foundation, at least until the summer. Celebrating Teachers is one of the highlights of our year, when we can show public appreciation and thanks for the important work that happens every day in Brookline classrooms. To all of our educators here today, we warmly welcome you. I want to welcome the administrators, parents, and students who are here this afternoon. I'd also like to thank our generous donors and others from the Brookline community who have joined us today. I would like to acknowledge all past Caverly winners who are in the room. Could those of you who are here please stand up? I'd especially like to welcome our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Linus Guillory, who will say a few words of welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. So great to be here with you this afternoon. Welcome to the annual BEF Celebrating Teachers program, honoring the exceptional individuals who embody the essence of teaching excellence within the public schools of Brookline. Today, we gather to celebrate exceptional educators whose unwavering dedication, passion, and innovation have left and continue to leave indelible marks on the lives of their students. Today, we will conclude with our Ernest Caverly awardees, and what a treat that will be. As we recognize and appreciate our teachers for sharing their extraordinary gifts and talents with students each and every day, let us reflect on and cherish the profound impact that they have in shaping the generations to come. They are not merely instructors of subjects, but architects of dreams, mentors who guide, inspire, and nurture the flame of curiosity within each young mind they touch. Today, we applaud their achievements and celebrate their contributions. Thank you for joining us in this celebration of excellence in education, and thank you to the Brookline Education Foundation and community for your laser focus on supporting the educational endeavors and achievements of our teachers. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Guillory. I'd also like to welcome members of our school committee and other elected officials, and I ask that you please stand so that we can all thank you for your time, energy, and service in helping Brookline remain committed to education. The work of the BEF would not be possible without the tremendous efforts of the members of our board of directors and advisory board. I would like to ask all current board members and members of the advisory board who are here to stand up and be acknowledged. I also want to acknowledge our Associate Director, Jenny Rothman, for the terrific work she has done in helping to arrange today's celebration and for her work throughout the year. And I want to thank our board president, Jen Rothstein, who assumed the responsibilities of president about a year ago and has done a tremendous job so far. Thank you, Jenny and Jen. Brookline educators have a curiosity about the world and a passion for learning. They are committed to inspiring and challenging young minds, and they possess a lifelong love of learning. The BEF's grant-making approach supports, facilitates, and encourages the pursuit of those qualities. All of our grants are teacher-driven, meaning that the teachers themselves know what they need and want, write their proposals, and have received funding. BEF Idea Lab grants provide support for experimenting with creative and innovative ideas in the classroom, with an emphasis on hands-on experiential learning. Teacher grants provide opportunities for teachers to deepen their knowledge in their field or to explore new areas. Collaborative grants promote cooperative efforts across disciplines, across grade levels, and across schools. System-wide grants provide opportunities for innovative thinking around issues that impact the entire system. It is my pleasure now to introduce Devin Powell, Chair of the Idea Lab Grants Committee and Collaborative Grants Committee, and Diane Picorni-Wilson, Chair of our Teacher Grants Committee, who will introduce this year's grant recipients. Devin?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Devin Powell. I'm a longtime board member, parent of a junior at the high school, and a Runkle sixth grader right now. And I'm so happy to be here today to announce the 19 Idea Lab recipients that were awarded in the fall of this school year. Also, on behalf of the BEF, I would like to say thank you to the many members of our grant committees, and a special thanks to Michelle Herman and Gabe McCormick for all of their work in assisting our grant committees this year. So we will be acknowledging our 19 Idea Lab recipients. After I read all of your names, I will ask you to stand to be acknowledged. Rachel Cragen and Andrea Schutler from BEEP, Ben Berman from Brookline High School, Nikki Farrington from BEEP, Juan Wang from Brookline High School, Kemju Armstrong from Baker School, Lindsay Anderson from the Hayes School, Sarah O'Shea from the Hayes School, Allison Whitebone and Talmadge Nardi from Brookline High School, Mary Ann Beal from Lincoln School, Abby Robichaud from Lawrence, Nicole Chassie from the Florida Ruffin Ridley School, Olivia Rayolt from Driscoll, Emily Manning Mingle from the Florida Ruffin Ridley School, Amy Bayer from Brookline High School, Jennifer Maloney from Florida Ruffin Ridley School, Victoria Kavanaugh and Adrian Pascucci from the Florida Ruffin Ridley School, Sutikshna Viravalli from Brookline High School, Jennifer Sanders from Lawrence School. Congratulations, if you can stand up and be acknowledged, all of our Idea Lab recipients. And now I'm introducing Diane Wilson, Chair of our Teacher Grants Committee.
Hi, I am Diane Picorni-Wilson. I have been a board member of the BEF for 6 years now, and I have 4 kids that have all gone through Baker, 2 that have graduated out of the system, and 2 that are at the high school. This year, the BEF has awarded 25 teacher grants, totaling over 108,000 and directly involving 35 educators. I'm going to announce the grants, and then I ask you all to stand together to be recognized. And I've worked on the pronunciations, but if I mess it up, I'll apologize in advance. Meredith Huntley, North Indian Music Immersion. Melissa Nixon and Julia Mangan, AP Summer Institute for AP Physics. John Ferguson, Professional Performer Partnership Project. Ellen Mullock, Deborah Trotterman, and Jana Young, Nurses Restorative Yoga. Jasmine Ha, Spanish Language and Cultural Immersion, A Journey to Enhance Service to Underprivileged Students. Colleen McCormick, Orton Gillingham Plus Training for the Learning Center. Melissa Moradian, Exploring Earth History and Sustainability on Iceland's South Coast. Jenna Laib, Math Education Conference in Chicago. Amy Ostroff and Kemju Armstrong, Exploring the Emirates, A Peek into the Cultural and Education System of the UAE. Emily Manning Mingle, Draw, Paint, Print at Oxbow School of Art. Liz Cook, Orton Gillingham Plus. Lauren Tavares, National Black Association for Speech, Language, and Hearing Convention. Tim Hintz, Castle Exchange. Lenny Liebensen, the NACAC conference. Julie Boss, Truth and Justice Pilgrimage and Community Building. Kendall Jones, Clifton Jones, Jason Montrose, Black Men Educator Conference. Stephanie Goodman and Lucy McNeil, Exploring and Conserving the Aegean and the Mediterranean Seas. Jeanette Sargent, Breathe for Change. Katie Moy, World Music. Olivia Rayolt and Anne Reed, Turtles as Inspiration for Learning, Art, Literature, and Research. Colleen Boyle, The Spanish Classroom in the Real World, Social Networks, the Media and Audiovisual Resources in the Teaching of Spanish. Carly Espinoza and Michaela Dodge, Geography and Culture of the American Southwest. Amy Beyer, ACE Program Coordinator. Julia James, Spanish Language Study in Support of Student Service Trip to the DR. And Abigail Robichaud and Lily O'Day, Arte de Mexico. Can you all stand, please? Congratulations. And now Devin's coming back up for collaborative.
Can't get rid of me. Okay. We also this year awarded 7 collaborative grants, totaling over $51,000 and directly impacting about 40 educators. Again, after I announce the grants, I'll ask our recipients to all stand and be acknowledged together. Our collaborative grants are the Roland Hayes Collaborative Research, leader Meredith Huntley. From the Science of Reading to the Science of Writing, leader Angela Harvey. BHS Pathways Executive Function Training, leader Alyssa Parker. The LGBTQ+ Collaborative, leader Stephen Easley. The National Education Association LGBTQ Caucus Conference 2025, leader David Chayet. The 2024 NCTE in Boston, Heart, Hope, and Humanity, leader Marlene Gonsalves. And BHS School Leadership Proposal, Innovation in School Leadership Conference, leaders Anthony Meyer and Astrid Allen. Could all leaders and participants in our collaborative grants please stand up to be acknowledged? Okay.
Hello, my name is Gavin Andrews. I've been involved at the BEF for about 4 years, and I have 2 kids at Pierce, 5th and 8th graders, so soon to be here at the high school. So in addition to awarding all of the grants that we just heard about, the BEF also has 3 awards given to teachers who receive teacher grants. So first, I'm going to talk about the Gelfand Award. This award was created to honor the memory of Adam Russell Gelfand, a Baker School student who died while in 5th grade. Adam's parents established the award to honor and recognize the many teachers who were important to Adam during his life. On behalf of the Brookline Education Foundation, I'm honored to announce the recipients of the 2024 Adam Russell Gelfand Fellowship, Carly Espinoza and Michaela Dodge, 4th grade teachers at Baker School, and they will travel to national parks and landmarks of the American Southwest. Carly and Michaela, can you please stand up and be recognized? Congratulations. The next award is the Charlie Baker Legacy Award, which was created by a generous donor in 2008 to honor Mr. Baker for his, quote, extraordinary service in time of need. This annual award provides additional funding to a BEF grant recipient for continuing education, travel, program development, or other similar pursuits focused in the areas of U.S. history and/or world geography. The 2024 Charlie Baker Legacy Award is presented to Olivia Rayolt and Anne Reed, the Driscoll art teacher and librarian, respectively. Congratulations. They will be traveling, this is so exciting, to Costa Rica to participate in their sea turtle research and kick off their Year of the Turtle at Driscoll, so very excited. Thank you. All right, the next one is the David E. Pradell Award announcement. And so this is the 4th year the BEF has been giving an award to an outstanding middle school teacher in memory of beloved Driscoll Middle School teacher, David E. Pradell. This award is presented to a teacher of middle school students who stimulates students' imagination and curiosity, helps students develop self-assurance and self-esteem, and encourages student collaboration and/or instills an abiding sense of social responsibility. No big deal. Wow. This year, there's a fabulous honoree. This is Colleen Boyle from Runkle Middle School, Spanish teacher, and she will travel to Spain to participate in a class designed to promote intercultural awareness and provide ideas and resources to boost motivation and learning. Congratulations, Colleen. Are you here? Yay! All right. So next is the Margaret Metzger Fellowship Awards. Every summer, the BEF funds 6 teachers who work together in a workshop format to write about their experiences in the classroom as Margaret Metzger Fellows. Margaret Metzger taught English at Brookline High School for over 40 years before her passing in 2013. She influenced thousands of students and educators through her teaching, writing, and mentoring. These fellows continue Margaret Metzger's work, thinking about the classroom, writing about teacher, and furthering the art of educating young people. We are so thrilled to announce the latest class of Metzger Fellows who will work together this summer. Alexa Cuff, Baker Guidance Counselor, Matthew DeGrace, Special Education at Brookline High School, Lily Glickstein, 4th grade at Driscoll, Daniel Lipton, 2nd grade at FRR, Katie McGraw, a math specialist at Lawrence, Matthew Picard, 5th grade at Hayes. In the fall, we will have a public celebration where you'll get to hear the teachers read some of their writing from the summer workshops, and we will be able to honor them. But for now, if folks are here, please stand up so we can recognize you. Thank you.
We're going off program briefly, and I can see the look of panic in Liz's eyes. So I'm not listed on the program, but very quickly before we heard from our Caverly winners, I wanted to say a quick word on behalf of the entire board and staff to thank Liz Askley. Okay, I cry every time I do like the teacher things at the end of the year, so I'm going to do this. For her 10 years of service to the BEF and Brookline educators. It's her 10th and final Celebrating Teachers event as she is stepping down from her role as executive director after this year. Her contributions to the organization and to the public schools of Brookline over the past 10 years have been enormous. I'm not a public speaker. She has worked to build a board that is welcoming and representative of our diverse community. She has worked so hard to support educators as they branch out and try new things, particularly related to experiential learning and growth. And most importantly, she embodies the BEF core values. I don't know why I'm crying. This is so embarrassing. Woo! This is what I tell my kids to do. Woo! She embodies the BEF core values of elevating the craft of teaching and respecting the knowledge and skills of educators as professionals. Liz, we are so grateful for all you have done, and we wish you all the best.
Unexpected. Okay. Okay. And now for the Caverly Awards, which is what part of the reason we're here. In 1984, the BEF created the Ernest R. Caverly Award to recognize Brookline educators who have made outstanding contributions to excellence in education. The award is named after Dr. Caverly, a distinguished public school leader, educator, and Brookline school superintendent. Each year, the BEF asks educators in Brookline to nominate fellow colleagues for this award. The BEF convenes a special committee composed of BEF board members and prior Caverly winners who consider the wonderfully descriptive and inspiring letters submitted in support of each nominee by colleagues, parents, and former students. On behalf of the Brookline Education Foundation, we are delighted to announce this year's Caverly Award winners. Olivia Raelt is the art teacher for every student at Driscoll. Since 2015, Ms. Raelt has been helping her students harness their artistic creativity in a safe and welcoming environment. As one of the few teachers who teaches every student every year they are at Driscoll, Olivia comes to know her students very well, sees them grow up, and gains such a unique perspective that teachers often come to her to hear her thoughts on certain students. Her dedication to making sure that the art curriculum integrates with what they are learning and ensuring that Arts Equinox is a success every year, as well as just being a warm and welcoming presence in the school. Olivia Raelt is well loved by students, teachers, and parents alike. As an excellent all-around educator, the BES is pleased to give Olivia Raelt this award. It is my pleasure to introduce David Euclid, the principal of Driscoll School, who will share some thoughts about Olivia.
Thank you, Liz. And again, I just want to say thank you for all the work that you've done for our teachers and for our community. Many of our teachers at Driscoll this year have received, I think, about 5 or 6 awards, and it really enriches all of our work as teachers and as educators, and it enriches our students and our community. So thank you for all the work that you've done. I am so excited, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited, and it's my pleasure of working as an administrator with Olivia Raelt for the past 9 years. Since 2015, Ms. Raelt has given her heart to the Driscoll community by sharing her passion for art in so many ways. The artwork that our students produce are absolutely amazing, and they're a symbol of what we value at the Driscoll School: individual expression and a true commitment to the arts. Ms. Raelt can be seen hours after school, sometimes into the evening, making displays in our hallways or placing pottery on our new display cabinets on the 4th floor. Ms. Raelt has livened up the top of the student cubbies in our elementary school's wings by placing student-created 3-dimensional pieces on top of these units. This type of dedication to making our school beautiful happens throughout the school year. In the art room, Ms. Raelt brings an energy and a passion to her work as a teacher. She is always well prepared and provisioned for each class before they enter her space, which is not easy when you have to prepare for 9 grade levels. There is always purpose and meaning behind each of the units that she teaches. Ms. Raelt not only instructs her students on importance of using techniques like shadow and perspective in their projects, she spends time having her students share, comment, and appreciate each other's unique piece of work. Ms. Raelt teaches her students to notice each other's expression as well as the nuances that make up a piece of artwork. Her teaching involves instruction on specific skills as well as attention toward building community among her students. Ms. Raelt is a true professional who gives countless hours to the entire K-8 school community. In March, when it's time for Arts Equinox, which is a unique event in Brookline, Ms. Raelt created a tradition where the day before this event, she organizes all her students' artwork and puts on an art show for the Driscoll community. This year, it was housed in our new multi-purpose room, which allowed families to come after school and into the evening to walk through and enjoy a series of displays containing collages, paintings, and drawings. Tables were placed around the interior filled with clay products as well as a variety of 3-dimensional artwork. She even put together a magnificent display of student-created jellyfish that was backlit with LED lights to make it look like a magical underwater scene. It was awesome. Later in the spring, Ms. Raelt helps our 8th grade play director produce realistic backgrounds and props for our 8th grade play. Students love to work on these projects because Ms. Raelt's passion for bringing our 8th grade play to life brings a passion for bringing our 8th grade play to life. Under the leadership of Ms. Raelt and the commitment to the play at Driscoll, with its beautiful backdrops, props, and costumes, the quality of our 8th grade play has been taken to another level. Ms. Rael brings so much passion for art education, and she has a strong commitment to each student at Driscoll School. She's a calm and positive presence in our middle school and at staff meetings. She is always willing to go on field trips or help out at any school event. She has even come up with a system where each morning when the bell rings, you can see Ms. Rael holding her grade level signs to dismiss our students from the cafeteria in an orderly way to avoid a crush of students as they converge on the main stairwell to go to their classrooms and their homerooms. We are so lucky to have a teacher like Ms. Rael at the Driscoll School. I am so happy that you're being recognized for all that you've given to your students, their families, and to the Driscoll community over the years. And it is my honor to introduce this year's K-8 Caverly Award winner, Olivia Raelt. You need help setting that up?
Thank you all. This is a little scary. David's going to plug in. I wanted you guys to see the beautiful work that our students create. All right, here we go. When the Cavalry team entered the Driscoll art room a few weeks ago, I was confused, shocked, and very, very nauseous. Such an incredible and unexpected surprise. It is an especially supportive village that enables me to be successful and happy in my job. Now, this is when I start crying. I could not manage working without all the people that bolster me in my teaching. Thank you, Driscoll School teachers, staff, and administration who really value and understand the importance of arts. I so appreciate your invaluable support of me and my often scatterbrained self. You are an awesome team. Collaboration is a big ingredient to who I am as a teacher. The Driscoll teachers and the art teachers across this district inspire and challenge my thinking, which betters me as an educator. And to the Brookline BEF, Brookline Educational Foundation, all educators and students are so fortunate to have you. You encourage and support us to think outside the box, to imagine something new and exciting to bring to our teaching and to our classrooms. The BEF has provided teachers with excellent individual, collaborative, department, school, and town-wide initiatives and has funded so many interdisciplinary projects in this town. Your work translates to joy in our buildings. My path as a learner is likely what led me right into a career in teaching. My elementary experiences in the mainstream classroom were often anxious ones. I traveled a very bumpy road where traditional teaching practices often did not compute for me. In the academic settings, I struggled to make sense of systems that seemed simple for my peers. Fortunately, in the arts, there was a world of excitement, discovery, and a feeling of competency and joy. Students' learning is full of emotions. It's present in how to learn, what to learn, and most importantly, how students feel about the learning. At one point or another, we all have been asked, what's your favorite memory in school, earliest memory, or your favorite teacher? When I look back over my most poignant memories of school, the memories either have joy or anxiety attached to the emotion. The truly joyous memory in school was when I was in 5th grade and I was handed a clump of poopy, yellowed sheep's wool. I can remember the smell of the farm as well as the scent of the sheep's lanolin. The class was called Sheep to Shawl. We were taught how to card the wool using what looked like 2 dog brushes. As the bits of dried grass and poop fell away, we were then ready to wash the fluffy wool. Over the weeks and then months, we chose dyes to color our wool. We were taught how to use a spinning wheel to spin our own yarn, and then how to knit it. These hands-on interdisciplinary learning projects engaged me completely. My finished piece was a scarf that I wrapped up and gave to my mother for Christmas. My mom wore the scarf on the coldest of days, saying that it kept her whole body warm. I actually don't doubt that because it was closer to being a rug than actually a scarf. I remember putting it around my neck and talking about how itchy it was, and my mom responding, "It's not itchy on my neck." It also smelled like a farm, but my mom responded, "I don't smell a farm." Mom was willing to cut me some slack and wear the smelly, itchy scarf to prove my success. This paints an accurate picture of my mother. My first teacher, I had no better champion. My mom's understanding of how excited I was by this project led her to rent me a spinning wheel to have it in my room at home. The teacher in her helped me realize that if I worked the spinning wheel while she read my required school reading out loud, my comprehension was nearly perfect. My parents recognized that I was a capable student, given to diving deep into areas of interest and processes that allowed me to control the pace and the scope to imagine more than one solution. This was important to my self-esteem. Both my parents recognized that the arts made me feel success and reflect on how and what I learned. With learning not coming easily for me in most academic subjects, I often felt anxious and inadequate. In third grade, my classroom teacher, Mrs. Frick Richards, discovered that I really couldn't read. Through my first and second grade, I worked hard to fake it and became really good at it. I learned to memorize Mac and Tab books by listening to neighboring kids read them out loud. There clearly was no Fountas-Pinnell or BAS testing back then. Mrs. Frick Richards explained to my parents that I had very early emerging reading strategies, but that was about it. This was the beginning of a long journey for my parents and myself to discover what kind of learner I was. The art room, the wood shop, and the athletic fields became my sanctuaries at school. When I was drawing, painting, or sculpting, I felt challenged but relaxed. Art provided me a means of self-expression where I could communicate thoughts and feelings that were difficult to articulate verbally or in writing. The arts allowed me to escape from the challenges of the classroom curriculum expectations and immerse myself in a world where I felt capable and in control. Moreover, art and athletics offered me a sense of validation and acceptance from my peers. Thank goodness for this, because as we know, self-esteem and confidence is everything. I've always loved the joy of discovery for myself, and early in my life, I realized that children experience this discovery constantly as they explore their world. Working with children was a natural path for me. When I was still a child myself, I was always drawn towards babies and toddlers. My first babysitting job was when I was 11. For years, I was clear that I wanted to grow up and have 5 children of my own. Luckily for my husband, Bill, I outgrew that idea, and my desire to surround myself with children morphed from having a large family to having a classroom surrounded by students. My parents were my biggest cheerleaders throughout my schooling. As I was a developing artist and athlete, they encouraged me to consider applying to art school as well as liberal arts school when it was time for college. I was certain that becoming an elementary school teacher was what I wanted, so I went on to a liberal arts school, majored in art, and then went on to receive a master's in teaching. My first job was a second grade classroom teacher. I was hired in a school that was committed to creating collaborative, interdisciplinary lessons for all grades. Our teacher meetings were spent pooling our resources and talents to develop thematic units such as one on the Boston Harbor. The first and second grade teachers worked alongside the theater, art, music, and gym teachers. The students acted in a play about sea creatures that inhabited the harbor. Students wrote letters to legislators to advocate for cleaner water. We participated in beach cleanup in Revere. And for the culmination of their studies, we turned this area of the school into a vibrant harbor with 3-dimensional lighthouses, boats, and nautical flags. The students had constructed papier-mâché animals and showed the devastating impacts of an oil spill. After 8 years of being a first and second grade teacher, I was fortunate to be able to hit the professional pause button for 2 years to have my greatest joys of my life, my daughters Eleanor and Grace. By stepping away from the classroom during that time, I was able to pinpoint what kept my engine running as an educator. The giant 3D beehive when we studied communities and social studies, or the woven hut made from cardboard strips when we studied the culture of the Zulu peoples. My students could crawl inside and let their imaginations wander. These projects were what brought me and my students immense joy. The creeping pressure of meeting academic benchmarks for my 6- and 7-year-old students was challenging what I love the most about teaching. In 2006, I returned to the classroom as an art teacher, and it was the right decision for me. Teaching art fulfills my own creative needs. Watching the imagination of my students unfold so naturally with a paintbrush or a pile of torn paper is truly the best. Each time a student exclaims, "Mrs. Rail, did you know that when you mix yellow and blue, you can make green?" It is exciting. Being part of so many exciting discoveries is truly the best. Kindergarten Ella said out loud to her table group, "Painting makes me feel amazing." And yet another kindergarten student screamed, "I hate this stupid rabbit," and tossed his artwork to the floor after his Sharpie marker took an unexpected turn. Being able to then explore the various solutions with a student where they can make a mistake into something artistically meaningful is truly the best. The times are numerous over my 17-year career teaching art where I've heard, "You know what, Mrs. Rail, I'm going to be an art teacher when I grow up." One of my former students was shocked to hear that I actually get money to do my job. on top of it being, from their eyes, to be so, so fun. Students love, crave, and need this creative hands-on expression as well as in music, dance, and theater. Recently, a sixth grader shuffled out of my art room with his friends and peers and mumbled to one of his friends, "I just don't understand why we have art just one day a week. It doesn't make any sense." I'm asked this significant question by my kindergarten through 8th grade students regularly, and I know my other art colleagues experience the same question. Why do we have art only once a week? Depending on their age, my response is always the same. I totally agree with you. You know, you should ask Mr. Euclid that question. Or for the other ones, I say, I totally agree with you. You should ask Dr. Guillory that question. Sorry, guys. So my journey as a teacher continues. I come to school every day knowing that having the arts in our schools is critical for our students, that the arts boost self-confidence and reduce stress. Creating allows students to learn life lessons on failure, perseverance, resilience, and rigor. The creative process exercises students' critical thinking and enhances communication skills. The arts encourage civic engagement, promote empathy, and cultural awareness. The arts enrich the educational experience of all students, no matter what their learning style is, as they prepare to succeed in an ever-changing world. I'm grateful for my many colleagues I have been part of, I am grateful for my many villages I have been part of during my teaching career. Teachers succeed when a vibrant village works together, where children gain confidence, develop the skills to flourish, and to be able to realize their hopes and dreams. I look forward to being a student, a novice, a beginner this summer. Beyond this unbelievable award, I've also been given, as you heard earlier, a BEF grant this year. I have the opportunity to travel with my librarian colleague, Ann Reed, to Costa Rica this summer to start the planning and research for Driscoll's 2024-2025 Year of the Turtle. The trip will allow us to participate in sea turtle research and learn from those who have devoted their careers to protecting and understanding these amazing animals. Our goal is to share our gained knowledge and excitement by bringing endangered baby freshwater turtles into the library through the Zoo New England Turtle Conservation Program. The Zoo New England Hatch program is referred to as the Head Start program for baby turtles. Students will become researchers and become part of the local conservation efforts. We plan to create interdisciplinary experiences at Driscoll School for our students where they will study turtles up close and, of course, create meaningful artwork inspired by these creatures. And in September, I will come to school fully charged, all in, ready for the next chapter of my teaching career.
Kira Flynn Carson, an English teacher at School Within a School at Brookline High School, is the personification of an amazing English teacher. Kira's enthusiasm for the subject, love and respect for her students, and desire to help other students and teachers is evident in everything that she does. Kira encourages her students to find their unique voice, to dig deep and push themselves, guiding them in authentic learning experiences and moments of real growth. Among the core elements of the BHS program that Kira has had a hand in creating and sustaining are the advisory program, the social justice class, Day of Change, the Sharp Warriors, and many beloved SWS traditions, including monthly lounge shows for faculty and students. As a truly devoted, compassionate, joyful, and impactful educator, it is the BEF's honor to present Kira Flynn Carson with this year's Caverly Award. It is my pleasure to introduce Anthony Meyer, head of school of Brookline High School, who will say a few words about Kira.
Hello, everyone. Before I say a few words about, more than a few words about Kira, I want to take a moment to just thank the BEF, to thank the board, to thank Liz and Jenny for gathering us for this incredible event. Can we just take a moment and thank them? The atmosphere of this event is critical. This is a time to celebrate the people who do the most important work in our schools, and that is our educators. I want to acknowledge that as many of you came upon the high school today, you might have seen some police cars, and it's not the atmosphere we would like. There was an incident after dismissal that we ended up handling. That's not what I want, because I want us to be here making sure we're keeping our educators front and center, and I think that we're doing that. I also want to acknowledge that when I sat up here, I looked down at my shoes, which look like that, and recalled that I had a pair of dress shoes, and so I'm wearing instead what Dan Bressman termed my clown shoes. In a moment of vulnerability, I share that with you. There are some professional ties I want to acknowledge. Kira and I began in the same year, so this is year 20 for Kira Flynn Carson, really year 21. Yes. And as I recall, she did her student teaching both at the Pierce School and at the high school. I'm hoping I'm getting at least most of my facts right. And worked with a teacher named Barry Schumann, and that could be a story in and of itself. There we go, Barry Schumann, amazing. Oh my God, that's so great. And it is a story that you might hear. So 20 years of Kira Flynn Carson, amazing. And it's also not just professional, it's personal. Kira has taught both of my daughters, and I'm going to say a few things about Kira. I think one thing I want to emphasize is that my 20-year-old who is away at college still has on her wall, and her wall is very curated with very few things on it, is a postcard that Kira wrote to her about working with her, who she saw her as, and if I were to read it here, I would be weeping, and so I'm not going to, but I'm incredibly grateful to Kira's support of my daughters, knowing that that's how she teaches and supports each and every kid at Brookline High School. And how is that? You'll hear more from, I'm going to shift in a moment into a few short excerpts from the folks who wrote on her behalf, because I think it's incredibly important to recognize them and to hear bring their voices into this space. But for my part, I would say it is hard to imagine a kinder, more empathic, and caring individual than Kira Flynn Carson, who benefits our kids and our community, our high school community, and our larger community. Kira is an incredible person to have with kids. I'm going to swear just a little bit and say she is also a facilitator of badassness. And that is important for high school kids. To understand that you can balance that kindness, that empathy with disruption, with trying to work on systems that need work, to try to work with kids who need to be encouraged and emboldened. And Kira does it as well as anyone I've known, that incredible balance. So let's read a couple of excerpts. And you heard a little bit of this, but this is from Dan Bressman, who is the coordinator of SWS. Kira has been a devoted and beloved teacher, serving at the Pierce School, the high school, and in SWS. She has led multiple school-wide programs initiatives, and she has been the person that numerous students credit for their own intellectual awakenings. Kira has been a special education teacher and liaison, an English teacher, a co-founder and early leader of the BHS Advisory Program, the Innovation Fellow with the Innovation Fund, the advisor to Sharp Warriors, as you heard, leading advocate for materials fee, the leader of co-curricular programming in SWS. The list goes on. The resume is impossible to capture. She has done so much in her 20 years. Now this from Dr. Jen Martin, currently our social studies chair, but a longtime colleague of Kira's, both with advisory and in SWS. Kira is widely known for her extreme kindness. When I say extreme, I really mean it. She is the first person to bake cookies for her colleagues or an entire class of students. She is someone who genuinely cares about the answer to the question, "Hi, how are you?" She treats her students with the exact same care and kindness that she does her closest friends and family. She is one of the most humane people I know, and she approaches every situation with care and curiosity. There is a reason why kids simply hang out in her room just to feel close to someone who cares deeply about them as a whole person. That bears repeating, the power of that sentence. There is a reason why kids simply hang out in Kira's room just to feel close, I would argue, to be close to someone who cares deeply about them as a whole person. That's what it's about. This from Ben Berman and Roger Grandy, colleagues in various ways. Last May, the SWS seniors were sharing their finales, a final paper that asked students to reflect on their time in SWS before graduating. It was getting late when a student stood up, her hands shaking as she held her paper, and shared a deeply vulnerable story about the time that she'd gotten caught cheating on a math test during her junior year. She described her math teacher's disappointment in her and her own fears about the academic consequences, but mostly she focused on the intense shame that she felt for having made such a horrible decision. But she also described how in her lowest moment, she walked up the stairs to Kira's room and to confess to what she had done and what it meant to have a mentor like Kira in that moment, someone who would both hold her accountable for her mistake and still find a reason to believe in her, someone who could help her separate what she'd done from who she was. She finished reading her reflection, crying through most of it, then walked over to Kira and hugged her with all of her might. It was one of those once-in-a-lifetime moments that you might expect to see on an ABC after-school special or a Disney TV show, except when you work with Kira Flynn Carson, you realize these once-in-a-lifetime moments seem to somehow keep happening again and again and again, and that is because Kira is a once-in-a-lifetime teacher who teaches the whole student. Last, from Karen Harris, longtime English teacher at Brookline High School who retired in 2019 and is with us today. It's titled Rigor for All Students. Kira's special education background and experience raises everyone's game in her classroom. She has such deep pedagogical content knowledge. This enables her to assess and meet students where they are and provide whatever scaffolding and encouragement and tough love and modifications and attention each student needs to be a true scholar and scholarly presence in the classroom. In SWS, the expectation is that students will be held accountable by other students, that they will be engaged for the sake of learning and for the good of the classroom community, and they are responsible for the class as active participants and meaning makers. Teaching in a place like this, and in fact in a place like BHS, requires the confidence to share some power with students. It demands that teachers know students well in order to know when and how much to push them and when to back off a bit. There's more, but I think this is about hearing from Kira, so I want to say thank you to the colleagues who wrote on her behalf for sharing those words with all of us. It is my honor to introduce Kira Flynn Carson as the BHS Caverly Award winner.
This is overwhelming in the most beautiful way possible. Okay. One trait has remained consistent since I was 15 years old, and that is my love of mixtapes and playlists. I'd spend afternoons on the floor of my parents' bedroom queuing up songs, choosing just the right order, holding 2 fingers down on the record and play buttons of my dad's double cassette decks, and designing covers for the mixes that I'd give to my friends. Now I create Spotify playlists of the songs I fall in love with each season. Playlists are the way that I mark feelings, important moments, and relationships. So here in this important moment for me is my Caverly mixtape. Songs and stories that shape who I am and why and how I teach. Track 1, Teach Your Children by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young is for my parents. My dad says that when he was growing up, Ireland raised its sons for export. He moved to Boston with very little and created a beautiful life. He takes pride in the fact that as a carpenter, he built things that lasted. Homes in Brookline, public housing units in Dudley Square, offices and labs at Deaconess Hospital. At night and on weekends, as a drummer, he was the backbeat to people's weddings, anniversaries, and scores of Irish cultural events. While my dad worked hard, it was never about amassing wealth. He worked in order to give us stability, opportunity, and memories. He showed me that a life with purpose involves finding out what you are good at and doing it with and for people you care about. As for my mom, I don't ever recall seeing her sit and watch a movie or TV show without doing something else at the same time. Bills, sewing, embroidery. She was productive and useful in all of her minutes. She wallpapered our kitchen, climbed ladders to clean out gutters, and mulched and weeded our backyard. I watched her become empowered as she tinkered and toiled. She inspired the fearless experimenter in me. My mom taught me and my siblings that we are not special. This was not an act of cruelty. It was a democratizing mindset. No one is more special than you, and you are no more special than anyone else. It was also her defense against entitlement, a perspective that made me grateful for what I got and shaped me to invest in building character and connection rather than gaining status. After I graduated from high school, my mom got her associate's degree and became a travel agent. Her clients were her own neighbors and community members. She knew their lives and respected their budgets. She cared so deeply about crafting these opportunities for her clients that even just a few days before she died of lung cancer, she was in her office and on the phone trying to finalize the details of their trips. She measured her success in the quality of the relationships she built. My mom and dad prioritized purpose and relationships ahead of achievement and money. In doing so, they taught me that the moves you make towards power often come at the cost of connection. Their door was always open to friends and friends of friends, with a cozy bed and a delicious dessert waiting. From them, I learned that selfless care for its own sake is richly rewarding. They did teach their children well. Okay, track 2, Reach Out, I'll Be There by the Four Tops is for Frank Barbuto. Frank Barbuto, my Mike Dukakis lookalike 8th grade math teacher, was passionate about math, coaching sports, and Motown. He told us everything we needed to know about love we could learn from Smokey Robinson songs, and taught us not just why the formula worked, but why it was interesting. And while I didn't love math, I certainly loved him. We felt seen and cared for, so when he pushed us, we believed we could handle it. Because he was the Dedham High track coach, he also spent the year casting us in our future roles on the team. After class, he would tell me what a great hurdler and high jumper he thought I could be. No one would have taken me for an athlete, never mind one with real potential. But Mr. Barbuto saw me in the role and helped me see myself in it too. I then spent 4 years on his team, became the captain of indoor and outdoor track, and even tied the school record for the high jump, all because Mr. Barbuto made me believe in the version that he saw. He taught me the importance of encouragement and the fruitfulness of a mentoring relationship that grows over multiple years. When the Four Tops sing I'll Be There, I think of how much he really was for 5 formative years. Track 3, The Marriage of Figaro from Mozart, is for Huck Gutman. When I walked into Professor Huck Gutman's contemporary poetry class, it was love at first listen. When he read poems by John Berryman, Etheridge Knight, or Maxine Kumin, he made us feel things, the power of the words and the power of the writer controlling the rhythm of those words. But in our first class, he walked us outside, took a photo of each of us under a tree, and asked us to write down our hobbies and interests on a note card he stapled to our Polaroid. He then spent the semester showing up to and asking about our games, fundraisers, and shows. One night, Huck Gutman showed up at Club Metronome to watch me play drums in my Riot Girl band. This classical music lover sat through my punk rock set with a smile on his face and congratulated me after the show with genuine delight. This solidified my teaching ethos. A teacher who wanted to know students outside of the class as well as through the beautiful, challenging, and activist-minded work of the course. He taught us that poetry was about noticing for both the writer and the reader. It turns out good teaching is essentially about noticing too. Huck Gutman listened to punk for me, so I offer one of his classical favorites in return. Track 4, Survivor by Destiny's Child, is for my Germaine Lawrence school students. One of my first teaching jobs was at a residential treatment center for teen girls who had committed violent or sex offenses and who also had experienced considerable trauma. I was 24 years old, and my sheltered and optimistic worldview confronted the realities of the abuse and violence my students had experienced and also perpetuated. I wanted them to see that books could give them opportunities to process their experience and feelings, that Beowulf was actually deeply relevant to their personal and therapeutic goals. We had powerful discussions. They hated the bluest eyes Charlie Breedlove, and they had compassion for him. They felt deeply connected to Charlie because they too were simultaneous victims and perpetrators. I got to watch as they found a book that helped them see their lives in challenging and healing ways, that allowed them to write about and discuss their own situation through the safe distance of a text. Those kids taught me to shoot higher than just a skills-based classroom, that while I wanted my students to learn to read and write well, what I really wanted for them was to see the systems and factors that limited them, to see themselves as capable thinkers and change makers, and to start thinking about how to advocate for and liberate themselves. They were true survivors, and we made each other stronger. Track 5, Run the World's Girl by Beyonce, is for my Pierce School work moms. I started teaching at Pierce in 2001 and was given the gift of the most inspiring, kind, and funny work moms a young teacher could possibly hope for. Piper Smith Mumford was genuinely interested in supporting and developing my growth, even offering me my first English class when I wasn't yet certified. Kim Manasevit became my confidant, processing the daily interactions that would have kept me up at night if she hadn't skillfully counseled me in my anxious or self-doubting moments. And Sally Schumann and Gail Van Hatten modeled the magical combination of open-hearted love for kids and the tireless ability to fight for what kids, especially the most vulnerable, need. Their actions revealed that a good education should afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. Some kids do deserve more time, more resources, and more opportunities. Equity and repairing injustice was important work, and they did it one student, one class, and one policy at a time. Pierce School was infused with powerful love and care. Those women were badass school leaders, Beyonce worthy. Track 6, Close to You by the Carpenters for the SWS staff. Joining the SWS staff was less like starting a new job and more like being adopted by a loving family. They welcomed me into their homes and families. The beginnings of staff meetings were reserved for caring life updates and chatting about which former student someone had seen for a coffee date, at a wedding, or on a visit to meet their new baby. I learned that the greatest joy of being an SWS teacher was the legacy of connection forged in our years learning together and enjoyed over the course of a life, past graduation, past retirement. I formed my lifelong friendship with my wise, playful, badass SWS English colleague, Karen Harris. She would rest her head on my shoulder during town meetings. We would spoon each other on the SWS overnight on the air mattress she'd bring for us to share. And she was the person I called to come to the hospital when my daughter Awen was born, and I was afraid to buckle her tiny premature frame into a car seat for the first time. Karen's supportive friendship, her insightful curriculum ideas, her desire to share in my successes, and also to be honest and direct when she sees me spiraling in self-doubt, continues to help me evolve as a person and a teacher. The entire SWS staff are much more than colleagues to me. I love, respect, and enjoy them. So Karen Carpenter for the sweet closeness of my SWS family. Track 7, The Monkey versus the Robot by Piebald, is for Dan Bresman. The chorus of this song joyfully belts, "We have the best job ever. Yeah, we really got lucky." This resonates so deeply for me. And a major reason I feel this way is Dan Bresman. I remember sitting on a panel that Bob Weintraub organized to identify what kind of leadership we sought in our new superintendent. What came up repeatedly was the idea that servant leadership is the ideal, when leaders go to their staff to ask, "What do you need?" and then take action to provide the support that allows teachers and leaders to sustain the demands of this job. Dan Bresman, with his big heart, vast skill set, and giant toolbox, acts like the blindside tackle on a football team, who Keith Thomas tells me always protects the quarterback, especially from what they can't see coming. Dan protects teachers from the frustrating bureaucracy that can bog us down. He doesn't just allow me to be the kind of teacher I want to be, he clears the path to make it happen. I remember looking at him from across the crowded SWS lounge when he got hired and saying, "Let's work together for the next 30 years. And I'm so grateful that it looks like we really will. Track 8, Rooftops by Hot Water Music, is for Jessie. When I meet BHS 9th grade math teachers and they realize that Jessie Carson, beloved 8th grade Pierce math teacher, is my husband, they always say, "My students speak so fondly of him," or "He's the name we hear most often about having positive middle school math experiences." Jessie keeps his classroom stocked with Trader Joe's snacks for the after-school crew that hangs out in his room daily. Sometimes to do math, sometimes just to be known and cared about. He's an active mentor in the Pierce Partners program, and he spends hours every night retooling lessons, communicating with families, and planning interventions. His patience, as I spend many nights at SWS events or meet up with former students, has allowed me the time to build the connections that are so enriching for me, and I am eternally grateful. The lyric in this song by one of Jessie's favorite bands says, "We are making more old days." After all of our years together, reflecting on and reminiscing about not just our lives and parenting together, but our decades of teaching and our shared students is a gift. Track 9, We Are Going to Be Friends by the White Stripes, is for the BSSCC BFF parents. My daughter's age just so happens to align with the children of some of the most caring, dedicated teachers in the district, Roger Grandy, Danielle Rubina, and Lex and Keith Thomas. When our kids joined the Brookline School Staff Child Care Center, I never imagined we would grow to become an almost communal family. We sit over a fabulous Greek spread Lex lays out in Danielle's kitchen and discuss parenting, but our focus often turns to how to get our students out of the transactional culture of comparison and competition that leads to anxious perseveration about college, gaming the system, making decisions that sacrifice authentic learning and meaningful risk-taking and deteriorate students' mental health. As both teachers and parents in the Brookline schools, thanks to the material fee and METCO programs, we are doubly invested in the education provided here. Our many years of experience give us enough context to have deep concern when we see the district value individual achievement over collective responsibility and centering equity, justice, and ethics. These are teachers with huge hearts who dedicate themselves to making real change. This song says, "I can see that we are going to be friends," but in truth, I had no idea how much I would grow to treasure this crew. Track 10, Magic, Olivia Newton-John, you know I had to, is for my SWS students. In Bell Hook's book, Teaching to Transgress, she argues that a transformational classroom doesn't happen unless the people in it fall in love a little bit. By my accounting, I have fallen in love with the hearts and minds of over 1,000 students. And I have watched most of them fall in love with each other, at least pedagogically. Sometimes also in love. When I try to explain SWS to my friends, I evoke the Great British Baking Show, where everyone is genuinely trying to do their best, yet they both support and celebrate each other's accomplishments. SWS is the Great British Baking Show of school programs. Students genuinely get to know each other. Wait, I lost my place. Get to know each other's work. They express pride in their peers when they see them improve in their thinking and writing. They develop writers' crushes on each other and feel inspired to revise and work harder. In my 20 years in SWS, I have witnessed the absolute magic of watching strangers transition into groups that bravely, vulnerably share ideas and papers, cry, and even ballroom dance together. Magic. I recently read that a common trait amongst happy people is that they had to do a lot of chores when they were young, because it taught them not just that they were capable, but that they were meaningful contributors to their families. I watch as my students make playful, wise, deeply intellectual, and challenging contributions to our SWS family. When they do their chores in class and through their community leadership, I watch them develop their understanding that they are important here because they are. In the song Magic, Olivia Newton-John sings, "You have to believe we are magic, nothing can stand in our way." This line makes me think about the open mic shows we have in our lounge, where I see kids work up the courage to sing or play a song for the first time, and then finish, only to hear uproarious applause, even if they stumbled. Especially if they stumbled. What might we all be able to achieve if we were surrounded by people who believed so sincerely in each other's magic? Do we do it perfectly all the time? Hell no. But when we keep it as our North Star, we are all the better for it. Okay, we're about halfway there. No, I'm stealing Dan Bresman's favorite graduation joke. Track 11. The Best Day by Taylor Swift is for Awen. My daughter Awen has been my most profound teacher. She has approached countless tasks with pragmatic diligence. When she was 18 months old at the Cypress Playground, she examined the monkey bars with a look of determination, rivaled by a scientist on the edge of an important discovery. She'd attempt to reverse, fall, and unshaken dust herself off and ready herself for the next attempt, seeming to know even then that the only thing between her and any goal she wants to achieve is effort, practice, patience, and time. Though she is now only 13, she has designed and built a reading nook, starred in plays, upholstered a chair, run a fundraising bakery, and is a loving, responsible babysitter. She sees the best in the people around her, celebrates her friends in thoughtful ways, notices every baby and every cute animal, and is brave enough to defend her friends or teachers when she hears someone criticize them in a way she sees as unfair. When I need to explain things about our equal parts beautiful and broken world to her, it reminds me that if I want the world to be better for her and to her, my way to do something about it is inviting students to look beyond their individual needs and use their skills to improve their communities. It is Awen who guides the ethics of my teaching now, who drives me to create change in our school, in our community, and in our world. In this song, Taylor Swift thanks her mother for giving her beautiful moments of joy and support while other parts of her life are hard. Awen, you give me my best days, especially when things are hard. Being your mom is my biggest inspiration. So there they are, 11 tracks, the earworms I never want to get out of my head. I am so grateful for the Brookline Education Foundation for all they do to support teachers in Brookline and for celebrating teachers in this beautiful way. Seeing you all walk into my classroom with flowers is the joyful bonus track on my playlist, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you, educators, for your teaching, your mentoring, for inspiring our children. The Brookline community appreciates and values all that you do. I just have to say, because it wouldn't be me if I didn't, if you're in Brookline and you haven't voted yet, please vote. And please join us for a reception. Thank you.